Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Taylor, and here today we're going to talk about a couple of things that are affecting me and some people that I know in the state of this economy and the ever threat of rising prices of tech products. And the big question is, should you replace your products now or should you wait? So we're going to dive in here in a little bit. We're not going to be talking financial specifics. I'm not giving you financial advice, but let's just talk through the process together and see if it makes sense. All right, so let's get a couple of things out of the way. We know tariffs are coming and we know that they have the possibility of increasing prices. There are a couple of things that can happen. Companies can either absorb the price increase, the tariff themselves, and not pass it to the consumer, or they can pass it to the consumer and via product price increases. So let's specifically talk about Apple. As you probably are coming to learn, this is a very Apple-focused channel. I try to keep my tech diverse, but I grew up with Apple, and so that's what we're going to talk about. Upgrading your device used to be a kind of like a fun thing that used to be kind of willy-nilly, and you could do kind of whenever you want. But with the way things are kind of shifting, I think it's a smart move to be a little more conservative with how you're going to approach the situation. So here's how I would handle it. And I just did this today. I had an M1 Max MacBook Pro, and so I've had it for several years now, and probably the longest I've ever had a MacBook. And I started getting the itch last year to replace it, but I stuck through it because it was a great machine. It's under Apple Care. It's an M1 Max. I had everything that I needed in it, and so I kind of stayed the course. And then, because I've been thinking about replacing it for so long, I actually ended up replacing it today with a space black M4 Pro instead of going with the M4 Max. Because my studio is an M4 Max, so I figured on the go, I don't necessarily need to have the same amount of horsepower. And honestly, with the budget, I didn't really want to push it that much. So in that situation, I think it's okay if you were going to go out and upgrade a little bit earlier than you're planning to. You've had the thought process, you are preparing to do it. Your device is aging. I would say if you have an M1 or older, I think you're in a safe space to be able to upgrade, especially if you're on an Intel machine. I think the way that I would look at this is if you are buying now, you're buying for a little bit longer of a term. So you might keep this computer a little bit longer because prices might be inflated for quite some time. Panic buying. We're not doing that. We're not going to panic buy things. We're not going to go buy things that we don't need because they're cheaper now. If your iPhone is fine, there's nothing wrong with it. You have Apple Care, your battery is fine. You just start thinking, I need to get the new one now because it could be more expensive. Don't do it. You could be unnecessarily spending money that you might not need to spend. And the reason I say that is because with the current administration, we've seen things be a little wishy-washy. And so tariffs may increase prices now, but tariffs may not be here long term. Now, we always have the potential residual of companies keeping prices elevated because people were paying them. But I'm hoping that we're not going to be dumb and pay elevated prices on products that we know that we shouldn't be. So my advice to you is don't panic buy. Don't do it. If you need to buy something, if you have a battery issue, if you're out of Apple Care, if you were going to upgrade anyway, there are a lot of scenarios I think you can justify, but I would not go out and buy just to buy. One of the other things I would consider is too, if you're going to buy, pay cash. If you can pay cash for it, pay cash. Do not put yourself in a bind because you need to get a new device. And I know this isn't the same for everyone. I know that it might not be achievable or attainable to everyone, but keep that in mind. And if you can't do that, make sure you keep it to a reasonable level that you can manage and that you don't get stressed out if the economy starts to go downhill a little bit more than it already is. So I'm not going to give you guys financial advice, but I think you just have to be smart about it. Honestly, make a pros and cons list. Here's what I need for my device. Here's what I can do. We have a ton of great YouTubers who have reviewed products from Android phones to iPhones to tablets to MacBooks. I mean, anything that you could possibly want to know is here. So dive into that, get some reviews under your belt, and, kind of make that decision. Like I said, if you've been thinking about this for a long time, I think you're safe and good to go to make that jump. But I think right now, if you're looking to oh my God, I need to do this now, or I'm never going to get it because it's going to be expensive, and you're looking at panic buying and you don't necessarily need it, just stay the course for now. Hold off. Keep using what you're using. If you have to bite the bullet in the future, that's okay. But it'd be better to do that when you need it and be able to than to unnecessarily do it now and put yourself in a bind later. So it's just something to think about. We're going to see iPhone prices increasing, MacBook prices increasing. We're going to see Android phone prices increasing. Best Buy has already said they're going to be increasing prices when tariffs hit. So we already know some places are not going to be holding off on passing that cost down to the consumer. And so I think, that's also something to think about. Put your money where where you want. Think about where you're spending. Be a smart consumer. Companies that are going to absorb the cost, we shop at. Companies aren't, maybe we don't. Not everybody can prevent that, but at least in the first round of things, maybe that's something to think about. So I hope this kind of helps put you into some perspective or gives you some perspective on maybe just chill out a little bit. Things are going to be fine. We'll get through this, and you'll get through it whether you have a brand new MacBook Pro or not, or whether you have a brand new iPhone or not. There's always ways to get one. And who knows, we might see carrier deals come out more so than before, helping to eliminate that price increase. So who knows, you might be stuck with a contract with a phone for 3 years, but if it's not as much money directly out of your pocket, who knows? All right, so let's wrap things up. So who should be looking at buying a new product potentially before tariffs hit, and who should not? I would say if your phone is more than 3 or 4 years old, you're noticing slowdowns, it's in bad condition, you're out of Apple Care, you've been thinking about it for a while, maybe you kind of have more of a green light to go ahead and make that decision, because it's not really a panic buy. It's something that you were thinking about doing, and you were going to do it anyway. If you're buying, say, a new Mac or an iPad, especially with a Mac, I would say if you have an Intel chip, if the performance is not great, if you are pretty much M1 or older, maybe an older M1 Air, maybe an older M1 Pro, you would get a lot of quality life upgrades from going from those devices to the new ones, dual display support on the M1 chips, especially if you don't have a Pro device like an M1 Pro, M1 Max. As you know, I just did it for mine, and especially with the Intel chips, who knows how long Apple's going to continue to support them. So I think that would be a solid move. iPads, if your iPad is obsolete or vintage, and you were looking at getting a new one, go check it out. I'm sure you can find some deals, even at Costco. If you're looking for a new device, I know I see deals a lot on the new 10 or 11-inch iPads, the non-Pro models. They come in great colors, which I think is fun. And even the iPad mini, I've seen some deals on lately as well. So I think you could really get a good price beforehand. If you fall into that category, that's great. Like I said, make a pro and con list. Check out Reddit. Check out and see what other people are doing, because it's always a great kind of validation. You don't have to do what everybody else is doing, but to find somebody who's in a similar scenario and making that decision is a little bit reassuring. Okay, so now who should, we're at the red light, who should not upgrade. I would say if you're M2 or newer, you're good. You're fine. A couple more years, it should last you long term. Like right now, we're playing a long game. If you are a constant tech upgrader and you buy the newest of everything, I think you can wait. That's just me. As somebody who was that, I'm taking a pause, upgrading every 3 or 4 years instead of every year. So if you've just upgraded, stay the course. Don't worry about it. There's not going to be anything super crazy over the next couple of years. I really, the iPhone is pretty static. It might look different, but you're going to be fine. So I really, though, say we're not panic buying. We're not going out and buying things, taking on debt that you don't need, and panic buying, spending money that you might be able to keep saved in a high yield savings account. That might be a better alternative. People who are kind of yellow light, proceed with caution. If you're in the middle of that, maybe your iPhone is 2 or 3 years old, it's fine. Maybe it's a year and a half old, but you're kind of having issues. You're out of Apple Care. You know, just those kind of like little things where you're like, ooh, maybe I should get one. Just think about it, all of the above. Make a smart decision. Don't panic. Don't rush. Don't run to the Apple Store or Best Buy or Costco to get something just to get it. Think about it. Do some research. Do some like introspective searching. Make a pro and cons list, see what other people are doing in the same situation. There are a lot of people that use their computers the same way or similar capacity. Reddit is full of it. That's my favorite source of information to pair with reviews from tech reviewers to make a decision. I find out all the facts and then I see those who have the experience. And you have my experience. I had my M1 Mac for a long time and I finally upgraded. And so I did the same thing with my iPhone 13. I kept it for as long as I could. It broke. I was out of Apple Care. It made financial sense to replace it versus to get it fixed. And then, I turned around the next year because I hated the 15 if you watch one of my other videos and got the 16, but I love it now. Got Apple Care. I have a replacement on the way because I dented it and cracked the back. So again, if you don't have an immediate need, stay the course. Immediate need is not a want. So my immediate need is that I want. No, it's not. But at the end of the day, I can't tell you what to do. I can only just recommend based on what I've read and what I would do personally. And I think that, like I've said, if you fit into the green light category, you've been thinking about it, go ahead and go. If you're in the yellow light category where it's like, it could go both ways. Maybe you have Apple Care and you're just like, maybe I don't want to pay for that. I want to get a new phone. File the Apple Care, get the phone, do the express replacement, get the phone replaced. And if you're in the red light, you're a chronic upgrader, you're always getting the latest thing. Maybe wait, keep the money aside, see what you're going to do, or what the economy is going to do, or what the pricings are going to do. Because these things aren't going to last forever. But I think it's better to be safe than sorry. Anyway, that's another hot take from me. So feel free to ask questions, shoot me an email, leave them questions in the comments. I'm happy to respond to them, and I'll see you guys on the next one.